Welcome to the Invite Health podcast, where our degreed healthcare professionals are excited to offer you the most important health and wellness information you need to make informed choices about your health. You can learn more about the products discussed in each of these episodes and all that Invite Health has to offer at www.invitehealth.com/podcast. First-time customers can use promo code podcast at checkout for an additional 15% off your first purchase. Let's get started.
Our body's made out of cells, and cells, like everything else, have a lifespan. And it varies from location to location how long a cell lives. But the cells should not disappear, because if the cell disappears, obviously a part of you is disappearing. So you can imagine if you lose a lot of cells, a lot of you is disappearing. That's not a good thing. So to prevent this from happening, cells have to divide into two new cells, two daughter cells. And when they do this, they have to share their chromosomes. The chromosome is like a big archive or a big library that contains your genes, and the genes have all that material for everything that you are, and that happens inside your body. So the genes have the blueprints for everything that's going inside with you. Now, so if the cells don't split into two new cells and don't share their chromosomes properly, the cells disappear anyway. So to prevent damage to the chromosomes, because you certainly don't want mutations on a chromosome, there's end caps called telomeres. They're protective end caps. And when the cells are splitting into new cells at the end of their life cycle, when they're splitting into new cells, the telomeres break down a little bit, they shorten a little bit. And if they get too short, you lose the cell anyway. However, the beauty of a telomere is it can regrow to a more healthy length. And certain things can shorten the telomere length, like really bad habits like smoking, and certain things can improve the length of the telomere. These are the protective end caps on your chromosomes so the cells stay healthy. And that would be things like a healthy diet and exercise and a good multivitamin. So a famous researcher compared the telomere at the end of your chromosome to that little cap on the end of your shoelace. The little cap on the end of your shoelace, that little plastic cap, is called an eyelet. And it prevents the shoelace from unraveling. So if that eyelet gets broken down, shoelace unravels, you have to get new shoelaces. Well, you can't get new cells. So you have to protect the cells you have. Now, I know this is all very abstract, but here's an example of why it's so important. These are researchers from the University of Leicester and the University of Glasgow, and they took blood samples from 484 middle-aged men with moderately raised cholesterol and 1,058 control subjects who had healthy cholesterol. And they compared their telomere length in their white blood cells, and they compared that again 5 years later. So telomeres protect the chromosomes when the cells are duplicating. Both the patients and the controls with the shortest telomeres 5 years on were twice as likely to develop serious heart disease. This is according to Leicester University cardiologist N. Samani. So a reduction in telomere length triggers aging of the cell, cell senescence, and cell death, which we call apoptosis. So it's not a good thing. In any event, welcome to our episode, Telomere Length and Health, the effect of antioxidants. So, hi, my name is Jerry Hickey. I'm a nutritional pharmacist. I'm also the senior scientific officer over here at Invite Health. And today I'd like to talk to you on this episode about the effects of nutrients in your food and nutrients that you can take that help ensure a proper telomere length, the healthiest length you can get, because that is connected to both how long you live, lifespan, but also how long you stay healthy, which is your health span. So please be sure to subscribe to the Invite Health podcast, and please leave us a review. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Invite Health. All of the information on today's episode will be linked in the episode description, and you can visit invitehealth.com, our cover page, and just scan about halfway down and you'll see an icon for podcasts for more information. So let's get going. So obviously, according to that research from England and Scotland, telomere length is linked to heart disease. It's of primary importance. So here's another study. It's in the journal Physiological Genomics. It's another example of why telomere length is so crucial. It's from the University of Melbourne, Australia, the School of Applied and Biomedical Sciences, Federation University of Australia, and the University of Leicester. We're back to the University of Leicester, the Department of Cardiovascular Sciences. So they go on to say worldwide, heart disease is public enemy number 1. It's the leading cause of death worldwide. This often results from death of cardiac cells, heart cells. Oxidative stress, now that's the opposite of antioxidants. Antioxidants quench the free radicals that come out of oxidative stress. And hypoxia, which means a lack of oxygen, lead to shortening of the telomeres in the heart cells, which leads to a drop in heart function. In contrast, antioxidants, caloric restriction, and exercise can help prevent the shortening of the telomeres of heart cells and therefore help prevent the worsening of heart disease. So that's really interesting. Caloric restriction, not easy to do. Exercise, that's a winner. Antioxidants, they can protect the telomere length of the heart cells and help prevent the death of heart cells so that heart function doesn't worsen. So telomere shortening is a hallmark of aging and eventually developing fragility syndrome. Fragility syndrome, not the same definition from country to country, but it's basically when somebody becomes much older, they lose a lot of muscle and strength. That's called sarcopenia. They're shrinking in height. They're becoming incommunicative. They're becoming less mobile. They're sitting around all day. And once you start to develop fragility syndrome, all those diseases of aging creep into your life. So you lose cells when you're becoming older and more fragile and feeble. You lose cells and you lose cell viability, and there's a loss of the ability of the cells to regenerate, and the telomere length has shortened. And of course, like I said, this is related to aging related diseases. So let's discuss sarcopenia, because this is pretty common in aging people. And you could fight sarcopenia, vitamin D and calcium and protein and exercise and beta hydroxybutyrate. They all help fight muscle loss, and a really good diet that's not overly acidic helps prevent muscle loss as you grow older. But it's very natural to lose muscle as you grow older and strength, but some people have excessive strength loss and muscle loss, and that's called sarcopenia, and it's a dangerous thing. Like I said, it leads to fragility syndrome, and all those diseases of aging crawl into your life. They creep into your life. So let's talk about the chromosome, DNA, and RNA, so you understand what I'm going to talk about now. Your chromosome is in each cell, and it has all the genes loaded into it for the cell, and there are some others in another part of the cell called the mitochondria. And the thing is that when you replicate the cell, when you're replacing the cell, okay, when the cell has reached the limit of its lifespan, it has to split into 2 new cells. So it has to unravel its chromosomes. And what's protecting the chromosomes from being damaged, because you certainly don't want mutations on a chromosome, I mean a mutation on a chromosome can lead to cancer, is these telomeres. And what dictates the telomeres, kind of like the workhorse, what picks out the information to protect the telomere is called, it's a type of RNA involved with telomere protection known as telomere repeat containing RNA. And they found that telomere repeating containing RNA is lower in the muscles of elderly people with severe muscle loss, sarcopenia. So the telomeres are actually shortening, they're shrinking, and you have less protection for the chromosomes, and you're literally losing muscle cells. So according to the data, this can be reversed with exercise, vitamin D, branched chain amino acids, and calcium. I would add to that possibly creatinine monohydrate. I would add to that beta hydroxybutyrate. I would add to that an alkaline diet. That's in the journal Nutrients, by the way. So now let's go to some of the studies on antioxidants and telomere length, because longer telomeres protect your chromosomes. That's connected with a longer, healthier life. As I mentioned before, or I should have mentioned, obesity is one of the things that shortens telomere length. Obesity, diabetes, smoking, bad habits, poor diet, not exercising. So this is the International Journal of Obesity. It's the Georgia Health Sciences University in Augusta, Georgia, their Georgia Prevention Institute. And they're looking at overweight African Americans. And they said vitamin D in overweight African Americans protects telomere activity. It increased by 19.2% from the start of the study. So simply giving them 2,000 units of vitamin D3 every day improved the ability to lengthen their telomeres. So vitamin D is important. Let me tell you, there's a lot of studies. If you want to outlive your neighbor, take some vitamin D. And the best form of vitamin D is vitamin D3. It seems to be more active than vitamin D2, and it's better absorbed when you take it with food because it's fatty soluble. There's some fat in the food, and that helps you absorb the vitamin D. Just a little info there. So here's selenium and telomere length, and this is middle-aged to older adults. It's the journal called Clinical Nutrition, which is a very dependable journal. Every 20 microgram increase in the intake of selenium from your food was associated with a 0.42% longer telomere length in all the participants. Okay, so now there's always a ceiling to how much benefit you get from any particular nutrient, just like how much benefit can you get from an immunization? How much benefit can you totally get from exercise? Well, a lot. A lot from exercise. So every 20 microgram increase in dietary selenium increased telomere length 0.5%. So if you're getting a good amount of selenium a day, 50 microgram or 100 microgram, that's plenty. You don't need more than that. You'd be increasing your telomere length 1 to 2%, which is beautiful. It's not decreasing, it's lengthening. That's involved with health. I read a study about 5 years ago that I can no longer find because there's been millions of studies after that. I wish I could find it. It was people with heart failure. The shorter the telomere length, the more likely they were going to have a real problem. Like it was involved with dying. I mean, it was involved with mortality. In other words, people with heart failure who had longer telomeres, they had a better expectancy for lifespan than the ones who had shorter telomeres. So here's lipids and health and disease. A lipid is a fatty substance. So vitamin D would be a lipid. Cholesterol would be a lipid. Fish oils would be lipids. They're not exactly fats. There's other things attached to them. So they're looking at fatty soluble nutrients. Do any of them protect the telomere length? So that could be coenzyme Q10. That could be vitamin E. That could be beta carotene. That could be anything. So they said serum alpha carotene, beta carotene, beta cryptoxanthin, and a combination of lutein and zeaxanthin, all significantly associated with telomere length. So if you get a combination of these nutrients every day in your food, that's why you want to eat a nice combination of fruits and vegetables and seeds and nuts and salads and all these healthy foods, because then you get all these different colors. These pigments, like lutein is orangey. You get it in green leafy vegetables. You get it in pistachio nuts. You don't see it. It's orangey. You don't see it because the chlorophyll and the chloroplast, that really green stuff, hides it, but it's in there. Or zeaxanthin, that's in corn. Zeaxanthin is yellow. It's in yellow vegetables. Beta carotene is amber, but it's ubiquitous in a plant, in the world of plants. So when you get these, they enhance really at the truly microscopic level. They're enhancing your lifespan. Things that are hard to explain in a 1-minute ad on TV or on the news, but it really matters. It really matters. So here's the journal Molecules. These are researchers in Poland, a whole bunch of academic research institutions, and they're seeing that certain antioxidants combined in your diet really enhance the health of your cells and your telomere length, etc. A combination of ubiquinone, astaxanthin, lycopene, lutein, zeaxanthin, selenium, vitamin D, vitamin E, and they actually put a supplement together and gave it to their clients with all of these in it. Give them a combination of ubiquinone, which is coenzyme Q10, astaxanthin, that's a pinkish carotenoid. Lycopene, the red one, you get that from tomato sauce and tomatoes and reddish fruits. Lutein, green leafy vegetables. Zeaxanthin, yellow vegetables. Selenium, that's found in fruits and vegetables. Well, that's found in vegetables and certain nuts. Vitamin D3 and vitamin E alpha tocopherol. And it improved, listen to this, it increased telomerase activity by 25%. So telomerase is the thing that rebuilds your telomere length. So that's really vegetables. Here's the last one. This is the Journal of the American Geriatric Society, and it's researchers in Austria, the Medical University of Graz in Austria. And they found, once again, lutein and zeaxanthin improved telomere length, but so did vitamin C. So, recommendations. A really good diet, really, really good fruits and vegetables and salads, and it's okay to have some fish in there and, throw in some yogurt. I'm actually coming out with an antioxidant capsule that's going to have the two different families of vitamin E at sensible amounts, tocopherols and tocotrienols. Tocotrienols are so much stronger than tocopherols as far as antioxidants go. It's going to have some vitamin D, because vitamin D allows all your antioxidants to work better, because it helps control inflammation. That kind of saves the antioxidants, and they're free to do what they need to do to keep you going. It's going to have lycopene, the tomato source, lutein for marigold flower, zeaxanthin for marigold flower, natural beta-carotene from Holland that's been used in many human clinical trials, successfully published in medical journals. It has a whole slew of these wonderful pigment antioxidants, along with the 8 different vitamin E structures, and along with vitamin D, including astaxanthin, the pink carotenoid. And one a day just to improve the amount of these pigments that you're getting in your diet. I want you to get it from your diet, but just extra assurance that you're getting it. Take one of these capsules almost daily with food. I'll be taking it daily. And the thing is that the absorption of these pigments declines with age. It's harder to absorb these from food, so it's a good idea to take a supplement along with your food. Plus, certain drugs take these pigments out of the body because they're carried on LDL cholesterol. So LDL cholesterol is not all bad. It's kind of like a delivery service. And LDL cholesterol delivers total cholesterol, whole cholesterol to heal your nerves and your muscles. It delivers ubiquinol and fish oils and vitamin D and vitamin E and all these carotenoids. So when a statin lowers your LDL, you're actually taking these things out of your body. You have to put them back in. So I tell people, listen, you're on a statin. That's not the end of the story with protecting you from heart disease. You actually have to eat more fruit and vegetables because the carotenoid level in your body's dropping, and you should take one of these. We call it antioxidant HX. So thank you for tuning into the Invite Health Podcast. You can find all of our episodes for free wherever you listen to podcasts, or just visit Invite Health. Our loading page, you scroll halfway down, there's a big icon, podcast. Hit that and several hundred podcasts pop up. Please subscribe and please leave us a review. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Invite Health. And I hope to see you another time on another episode of the Invite Health Podcast. Thank you so much for listening.